In the hall, the crowd's in thrall. DNC's the stage where promises call. Kamala steps up with a smile so wide, but outside these walls, there's a different tide. Welcome to the Harris Hustle, where the dance is grand. But out on the streets, folks don't understand. Inflation's up, dreams are down in the Harris Hustle. Who wears the crown? They sing up June 8 under star-spangled skies, but the vibes growing deep right before our eyes. Progress they shout with balloons in the air, yet the cost of living no one seems to care. Tons of green deals while the war burns on. Wars and whispers, but here the show goes on. If they put in the USA, we might have a cheer. Forgetting the lyrics, the pain, the fear. We're the Harris Hustle where the dance is grand, but beyond the glare, there's a silent crowd. Jobs discuss, prices soar. In the Harris Hustle, what are we fighting for? From the stage they pledge we'll fix it all, but the people ask, will you catch us when we fall? They dance to tunes of hope, of change of might, while the world outside battles day and night. So here's the anthem for the DNC night, where the vision's clear, but the future's not in sight. In the Harris Hustle, we're a part of the play, but when the music stops, what will we say?
In this spiritual, fifth-generation war, the biggest weapon we wield is truth. This is the No Prisoners Podcast with your host, 451 Actual.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's your boy, 451 Actual. Welcome to the No Prisoners Podcast, Fun Friend Friday edition. Man, oh man, the culmination of Kamala's anointment last night, and very, very confusing messaging coming out of the Democrat Party, the mainstream media. Not really sure where the cards are falling. Like, oh, did you feel the vibe? Did you feel the joy? Also, why is everything still tied? We just don't understand. How is Donald Trump still competing with all of the joy? Chris Matthews coming on MSNBC this morning and said, didn't you see all the balloons? Didn't you see how many balloons the DNC had? Don't worry about Kamala Harris's policy. Don't worry about the fact that all these Democrats said essentially what their real party leader Nancy Pelosi is so famous for saying a couple of years, or I guess almost a decade ago now. Don't worry about what's in the bill until after we pass it, just like Kamala Harris. Don't worry about her policies until after she's elected. We're going to be going through all that. Plus, we got all sorts of cool news. I got a cool video about the Turin, the Turin cloth, and all of that, and some other cool stuff for you guys today. So welcome in. Let's go ahead and say good morning to all of our early birds that make it in here at the show's start. We got Brad Allen Music coming in strong. Good to see our base Canadian out there. Thanks for not shutting down y'all's rail system for too long and screwing up our economy more than it really is, but going down the same path that our rail workers went through last year by your government essentially just forcing them to work. Said, hit that jackass with an 07 salute. Thank you so much for the can. Mikey Baseball, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Patriot Drummer, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here. We got a Tom from America Floats in the house. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Mikey Baseball, good morning. Thank you so much for checking in. We got Salty in San Diego, said it's fun friend Friday, fuckers, get some. That's right, absolutely. Nuclear Family of 4 said good morning NPP family. Good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for checking in. We got the Gray Man checking in early and Mr. Tizo as well. Good to see everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor, you early birds, you badasses. Hit that red pill in the repost button. Let people know we are here kicking ass bright and early on this Fun Friend Friday. Get your guys this weekend started off with a little bit of high energy here as we make our way through Friday morning. So, as we make our way into the beginning of the show here, I'm just going to ask a little prayer request from all my friends out there. We have Feisty Ace, who has traveled back up to Idaho to grab the rest of her stuff. So she's actually already almost there. She was driving like a savage all day yesterday, and took a little break and into today. She should be there within the next 3 hours or so. So if you guys could just keep Feisty in your prayers, she's going up there for a week. And coming right back down here with the rest of her things. So just keep her in your prayers, safe travels, and safe passage, all that stuff. So thank you so much for that. Okay, let's see here. Who else we got? Okay. Well, we've got the one and only Laura DeGoddess in the studio with us this morning. How are you, Laura?
I'm fantastic, and I'm even better now. Just one thing to say about these, the convention. We basically have now had 2 conventions for President Trump. Because every single one of those people, every single one of them, got up there, talked about Kamala for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, a little bit, and then the rest of their speeches were all about Trump. Did you notice that?
Yes. Yeah, no, it was the entire DNC was about not Trump. I mean, that was the that was their whole message was don't worry about any of the policy, just ride the vibe, and Donald Trump, oh man, you can't have him in the White House again because we already know what that means. So there you go.
Yeah,
but it's good to have you.
Kamala, like I say. So thanks for having me. Hello,
Yes.
all you beautiful people out there. Please share. We want lots of friends today.
Yes,
Right?
Absolutely. And guys, please come on in. Kevin shares out the link for the restream every single Fun Friend Friday. You guys don't have to come in here and talk. You don't have to be on camera. I mean, you can come in here and talk if you want. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. But if you just want to come in here and hang out and get a live experience of the show and a little bit behind the scenes, feel free to join us in the studio. We would love to have you. Absolutely love to have you. All right. So let's go ahead. Oh, looks like we got a couple other people coming in here. We got Ranger coming in.
Yeah.
Said, too many lies to count. Yes, that is absolutely true. Too many lies to count.
The same one, though. They were all the same one. Every single person mocked the last, including Kamala. So
That's right.
they've got, what do they got? Mockingbird Media And I'm just like, what was the first night? It was joy. The second night is electric. I'm just like, oh, come on, give me a break.
Yes, please give us a break. All right. Now, let's go ahead and just get started here. I got some funny videos to get us rolling. We do have the opportunity.
Say hello to Kevin first.
Oh, yeah, Kevin, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead, dude. How are you this morning? Yes,
Wow.
I know. The knife.
We did that last time we were going too.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Fun Friend Friday. There are also 18 people over on Rumble lurking currently. So good morning, everyone on Rumble. Oh, it's Robbie36. Robbie36, good morning. I am Fritz Wicket over on Rumble. So
nice. Yeah, 20 of us over there now. Look at that.
Yeah, there are 20 of them. Yeah, you guys
Yes.
make sure to come in at like about an hour from now, less than an hour from now. Make sure you make your way on over to pill.net. Look for No Prisoners Podcast. I think
That's
it's like
right.
all one word to come
Yes,
into the
it
show
is.
on Pill. That's where you want to be. So yeah,
That's
let's
it.
get into it because truly we were having fun pre-show. In fact,
Yes, we
might
were.
be showing you a recording we made earlier that
we-
was certainly delightful.
It's just incredible how oblivious MSNBC is to their own gaffes, and just like how they'll just with horse blinders on, they say something and then they go on to the next thing, and they have taken what they just showed us. And in this instance, I'll do a little spoiler. It is the little kids that they brought out, her nieces, right? Kamala's nieces that came out and instructed all of these adults how to say Kamala Harris's name, right? Kama, la, 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 Kama, la, la, la. Okay, so anyway, and then within seconds, I mean, it segues from one to the other. We didn't have to do any editing. We didn't have to clip these together and be like, well, just a few moments later. No. They went straight into Al Sharpton's speech where they show this man mispronouncing her name over and over again. And not a single mention.
They all
Kamala. And then Joe Biden called her Kamala. So, I mean, you got all these examples of just pure retardation coming out of the DNC, and we have all of them compiled for you guys, especially last night. Some real sick things that they did as well in regards to abortion. We got that lined up for you. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it here. We're going to start off with some pretty funny videos. Now, this one actually made me laugh out loud. Just I don't know what it is about these Snapchat filters, but I thought that this was a hilarious idea. Instead of doing like a kiss cam, this stadium decided to do Snapchat filters over unsuspecting people in the crowd, and the results were just as good as you think they'd be. Here we go.
Her nose?
Guy behind him's playing pocket pool, though.
Is this a basketball game? There's an awful lot of lesbians.
Yeah, probably. Oh, man. I thought that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I like that trend. Let's keep that going. All right.
I use Snapchat all the time. It's awesome.
Oh, nice. Godzilla -1, but it's Cookie Monster. This is a pretty good mashup. Here you go.
Cookie. Got me so hungry for cooking me no get way. Give me cookie, please. Give me cookie, please. Cookie.
cute. Disturbingly
Right?
cute.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Just lay it into it with a machine gun. Gotta love it.
I sent
All right.
I sent you my favorite filter there so far through all of this
Okay.
stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it
and
out.
very apropos.
Nice. All right, here's another mashup for you that says Club DJs dropping the worst mashups you've ever heard in your life. I actually thought that this was pretty good. Two mashups you didn't think would go together, but I actually thought it went pretty hard. Here you go. Check this out.
Wake up! Grab a brush and put a little makeup. I
What
just
the
have
hell?
to fade away the shake up. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Here you go, create another fable. You wanted to grab a brush and put a little makeup. You wanted to. I just have to fade away the shake up. You wanted to. Why'd you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. Why I don't think you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
that sucked.
You see what I'm
That
saying?
sucked. Yeah, it sucked.
I thought that was great. Kevin. Come
It
on.
matched. At least it matched.
Stepped. It stepped on the intro.
Mm.
That's a
I thought it
very
was good.
important intro for the culture, I must say. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well,
Do
now.
you guys know about There I Ruined It?
Oh,
Talk
my
about
goodness.
Cool mashups.
Look at this. Agent
What?
Feisty Mango in the house.
Good morning,
on the
Feisty.
drive back. Well, good morning, lovely lady. Thank you so much for being here. Like I said, she's busy driving, and still enough room in the heart to come and visit her man and show some love. Thank you so much, lovely. It's so good to see you. Be safe. Keep driving. Focus on the road.
Goo.
I love you. All right. Speaking of love, we got a couple more donations coming in. Old Salty Dog, good morning to you, sir. Gifting the ship said, good morning, family. Happy Fun Friend Friday. Let's go. And then Misinformation gifting the cookie said, Fun Friend Friday, much love, y'all. Yes, indeed. And that Cookie Monster chasing the boat, man. That's how you do it right there. Yes, indeed. Good morning to everybody. Good to see you guys. You're great. Yes, you are. Good to see you guys. All right. D-Hexed in the house coming in. Good to see you. Good to see everybody hopping in, man. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you slap that red pill and the repost button to get as many people in here on Fun Friend Friday as we can. All right. Well, here's a post of cats. This final boss has too much HP, says the caption. Here you go. I love it. I love it.
Cute. That's cute.
Yes.
Here, kitty.
All right. Yes. Introducing the Ron Beer 2.0 lawnmower system, guys. Go
Oh,
and get
God.
yourselves one before
need
they're
that.
sold out.
I need that. Tweak built me that.
He probably would. The hood slide.
I would
Ron
like to
Beer.
introduce all of you to the new and improved Ron Beer 2.0. This here is my attachment holder. As you see, I got my weed eater up there. I don't have to have no trailer or nothing like that. I hop in my Ron Beer, I ride to the location, I cut the grass, I say, oh, I need to weed eat, and I take my weed eater off of the attachment and weed eat. When I'm done, I put the weed eater back up there, and I head on out. Well, would you look at her? I ain't thirsty no more, thanks to my drink machine in my Ron Beer 2.0. Now this here is the 25 horsepower Kawasaki motor that is powering my 54-inch deck. I have got my exhaust running out the top of the vehicle so I do not die of carbon monoxide poisoning as I am cutting the grass.
And people say rednecks are stupid. Come on.
I'm telling you what, 54 inches of cutting length. Come on, man.
That was
That's what I'm
fucking
talking
brilliant. That was
I'm telling you.
brilliant. I want one
Yep.
of those.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Buy a little beater and just turn it into an awesome little lawnmower. Why not? Why not?
I'd buy
All right.
that for my husband right there.
I'm telling you what. All right. This dog is becoming self-aware. Check this out.
Can somebody please make a movie on this dog already? Because the story is wild. So she uses these buttons to communicate with her owner, but she can actually formulate sentences in English, and it's kind of creepy. And I'm talking about this video right here where she tells her owner that somebody's in the house, but nobody was there.
That's me, I'm Mom. What can I do for you? Where?
It's kind of quiet, but it says stranger.
There's a stranger in the home. Okay, let's go upstairs and look for the stranger in the home.
And if you thought that was wild, just wait until I tell you this. They actually had to put her on medication because she kept asking why she's a dog.
Dog, why? I don't know how to answer that.
So if you still think that dogs can't talk, just watch Bunny do it.
Oh.
Watch Bunny do it.
Somebody
Why am I a dog?
reincarnated. A
Yeah,
child
I don't know.
reincarnated, maybe.
I don't know. All right.
It is said
Okay,
that
so yes.
it is
Go
said
ahead.
that dogs are very attuned to the spiritual side of existence.
Mm,
So
I can believe that.
Animals in general, I think.
Yes. All right. New scientific proof that the shroud is authentic. The Shroud of Turin is what we're talking about here. This one is just shy of 15 minutes, so sit back, relax, and enjoy this one. This is a pretty cool video.
Do we have new scientific evidence that the Shroud of Turin is the authentic burial cloth of Jesus? This popped up on my X feed. Sachin Jose, who I follow, he said this: the latest scientific revelation reveals that the Shroud of Turin was first made around 2,000 years ago, coinciding with the time when Jesus was said to be alive and ultimately crucified, suggesting that the burial cloth bearing the imprint of Jesus is authentic, and he's getting his info from the Sun. I saw this start to pop up pretty regularly, though. We've got Father Calvin Robinson says, a good news day, if you will pardon the pun. Further scientific proof that the Shroud of Turin is the actual burial shroud used to wrap the crucified body of Christ. The shroud that gave us the most accurate depiction of the holy face of Jesus. And so, of course, they're talking about the Shroud of Turin. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Super important relic, super important piece of history. Father Robinson links this website, dailymail.co. And if you don't know much about Daily Mail, they're not too reputable. I mean, let's just go to their website and look at the ads. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. So, well, first of all, the question is, do we have new scientific evidence that proves the Shroud of Turin is, the authentic burial shroud of Jesus? And the answer is kind of like, it's not new. We're going to talk about it in just a second, but it is nevertheless very interesting evidence and I think very powerful evidence. So we're going to talk about that. But again, it's not really necessarily new. It might be new to you in the sense of you've never heard of it. Okay. So back to Daily Mail. Look at all of these ads. It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
you
love
know what?
reading
You know
websites
what
like
makes
this. Okay, well, let's
you
look
know
at
what
the
makes a news page unreputable? All the ads. Okay, now do the mainstream media as they tell you that the vaccine is safe and effective, and then a Pfizer commercial comes on. Give me a freaking break, guy. Just read the story. Sorry. I had to just say that. It was annoying me.
Oh,
title
actually,
of
I
this
got a question
ad
quickly.
or a
Quick
Okay,
article.
hold on.
Okay, so is this proof of
Hold
the
on just a
Turin
second.
shroud is real? Scientists make
And okay.
Okay, I'm curious to know, wouldn't there be some semblance of DNAs or anything on it? Because I mean, he was bloody and ripped up and everything by the time that they buried him. I mean, they've been going over this the validity of this for hundreds of years now. Nobody's thought to take a DNA test on this thing.
I think they did actually. So we'll see. We'll see what all this
Yeah.
says. But
I've never
here-
heard of one, but yeah. Okay, go
all
for
right.
it.
Okay, here we go. And just a couple second delay here. Sorry about that, guys.
Startling discovery after analyzing cloth Jesus was buried in. Okay, yeah, I mean, the science is very interesting. We're going to look at that in just a minute. But the actual dating on this, and this is not a double entendre. I mean, like the dating that they're claiming that scientists have made this startling discovery, it was 2 years ago. It was in 2022 that the article that's referenced here was actually published. And again, we're going to look at the science. Super interesting stuff. People are just sort of now kind of catching on to this, although it's been around for a little while. So, and actually, I am inviting an expert on tomorrow to look at this a little bit more in depth. But let's start on the article where they start talking about the carbon dating. All right, so in 1988, if we can even find where to start reading on this website, in 1988, a team of international researchers analyzed a small piece of the shroud using carbon dating and determined the cloth seemed to have been manufactured sometime between 1260 and 1390. I've had actually another expert on, Joe Marino, who he talked about some of the problems with the carbon dating. So if you're interested, go look that up. But let's actually, you know what? Let's scroll down to the new research. All right. For the new study, scientists at Italy Institute of Crystallography, is that how you say that? The National Research Council conducted a study using wide-angle X-ray scattering, or just scattering, WAXS. The technique measures the natural aging of flax cellulose and converts it to time since manufacture. The team studied 8 small samples of fabric from the Shroud of Turin, putting them under an X-ray to uncover tiny details of linen structure and cellulose patterns. Cellulose is made up of long chains of sugar molecules linked together that break over time, showing how long a garment or cloth has been around. To date the shroud, the team used specific aging parameters, including temperature and humidity, which caused significant breakdown of cellulose. Based on the amount of breakdown, the team determined that the Shroud of Turin was likely kept at temperatures at about 72.5 degrees Fahrenheit in a relative humidity of around 55% for about 13 centuries before it arrived in Europe. If it had been kept in different conditions, the aging would be different. But let's get to the interesting part here. Researchers then compared the cellulose breakdown in the shroud to other linens found in Israel that date back to the 1st century. The data profiles were fully compatible with analogous measurements obtained on a linen sample whose dating, according to historical records, is 55 to 74 AD, found at Masada, Israel, Herod's famous fortress built on a limestone bedrock overlooking the Dead Sea. Reads the study published in the journal Heritage. Okay, so if you don't know, Heritage is a scientific journal. This is the actual article that is posted here. Anyone can go and find this and download it. It is free. Yeah, you can just download it here. We're actually going to look at it in just a second. Title of the article is X-ray Dating of a Turin Shroud's Linen Sample. And so we can also see here that it was published in April of 2022. So this is not necessarily new information. Now, here's what the actual, we're going to skip to the conclusion, and we're actually going to use ChatGPT to help us break down the rest of the article because it's a lot of very technical scientific stuff. And I am not a scientist. So I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me understand and help you guys understand what's being said here. And actually, that's a really great use of ChatGPT if you didn't know. But here's the conclusion. This is what everyone is sort of getting all excited about. In particular, the WAXS analysis presented here for the natural aging of the cellulose in the linen of a TS Turin Shroud sample allows us to conclude that it is very probable that the Turin Shroud is a relic of about 20 centuries old, even if we only have European historical documentation for the last 7 centuries. Okay, very, very interesting stuff because this goes against the carbon dating. And then next they kind of talk about the carbon dating and how we basically need more people to do these sorts of X-ray tests. I cannot speak. All right, here is ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is actually going to help us break down the science so we can all understand it. And I tried to do it like sort of humorously and accessibly. So let's just start reading. All right. I said, read the attached document, which is a PDF of the paper that I just showed you guys. Provide a 2-paragraph summary. The summary should be easy to read, humorous, and accessible. All right. The document is a detailed scientific exploration into dating the Shroud of Turin using a cutting-edge X-ray method. The authors delve into the structural degradation of the linen fibers, employing wide-angle X-ray scattering to determine the age of a sample taken from the shroud. Their findings suggest that the shroud is much older than the 14th century date proposed by the controversial 1988 radiocarbon test. Instead, they argue that the shroud is likely around 2,000 years old, aligning with Christian tradition, assuming it was stored under specific temperature and humidity conditions for centuries. This part is very important, assuming that it was stored under specific temperature, humidity conditions for centuries. So that actually is going to play a very big role. This is one of the assumptions that's sort of built into their hypothesis. We'll discuss that a little bit more later on with ChatGPT. All right, moving on. In essence, the researchers are saying, forget that medieval dating. Our high-tech x-rays say this shroud is as ancient as everyone hoped. I don't know why I did that accent. Their work provides new evidence supporting the theory that the shroud could indeed be the burial cloth of Jesus as long as it was kept cozy and dry for the last 2 millennia. They also emphasize that their method, unlike radiocarbon dating, allows for repetitive tests on tiny samples, offering a more reliable and less destructive approach to solving this historical mystery. All right, so then I said, explain and summarize in 2 paragraphs the method of testing they used as well as the results. Make it fun and accessible. So this all is actually very interesting. You guys be very interested to hear what they say. The researchers took a tiny thread from the Turin shroud and put it through an X-ray workout using a technique called wide-angle X-ray scattering. Think of it like giving the linen a superhero scan to check how many of its cellulose chains had broken down over time. As linen ages, its fibers slowly degrade, and by measuring the extent of this breakdown, the scientists could estimate just how old the fabric really is. The cool part? WAXS doesn't need a big sample, just a piece as small as a pinhead, making it a much less invasive method compared to the more famous and controversial radiocarbon dating. The results were a game changer. The WAXS analysis showed that the linen in the shroud had aged a lot more than you'd expect if it were just a few hundred years old. Instead, the results lined up with the age of other ancient linens from around 55 to 74 AD, suggesting that the shroud could indeed be about 2,000 years old, right in the ballpark of when Jesus was said to have lived. The researchers basically said if this shroud was a person, it'd be collecting its pension by now. I should have done that in the accent. They concluded that the shroud is likely much older than previously thought, especially if it spent its life in a nice, stable environment. So then I said, is there anything else I should know about this study? And this is where the preservation conditions, I'll just read this. You can read everything else if you're interested. But this is the interesting part here, okay? The study emphasizes that the shroud's age estimate hinges on it being kept under very specific conditions for centuries, cool temperatures, and moderate humidity. If the shroud had been stored in a more variable climate, its fibers would have been degraded differently, leading to a different age estimate. Okay, so this is very important. I then asked ChatGPT to tell us more about the preservation conditions. All of this, again, is super, super interesting, very important stuff. The preservation conditions of the Turin shroud play a crucial role in the researchers' conclusions about its age. The study suggests that for the shroud to be as old as 2,000 years, it must have been stored in a very stable environment, specifically at a consistent average temperature between 20 to 20.5 Celsius or 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit, and a relative humidity ranging from 55 to 75%. These conditions would have slowed down the natural aging and degradation of the linen fibers, keeping the shroud in relatively good condition over the centuries. The researchers highlight that if the shroud had been kept in a hotter or more humid environment, the fibers would have degraded faster, making the linen appear younger than it actually is. Conversely, if the environment had been cooler or less humid, the linen would have aged even more slowly, potentially making the shroud seem even older than the 2,000-year estimate. They also noted that historically the shroud is known to have been in Europe for the last 7 centuries, where the cooler, stable climates of France and Italy would have contributed to its well-preserved state. However, for the previous centuries before it came to Europe, the shroud would have needed to be in a similarly stable environment to align with the aging observed in the fibers. So this is all very important. Where the thing would have actually had to have been stored for it to be that exact age, around 2,000 years old, where was it stored? Because if it was stored somewhere where it was cooler or hotter than what this estimate shows, then there's going to be a lot of conflict between what we're seeing here and the actual history of the thing. So that's why all of these assumptions are very important. All right, this focus on preservation conditions is key because it introduces an important caveat. While the study supports the idea that the shroud could be 2,000 years old, again, could be, this estimate is only valid under the assumption that it was kept under these ideal conditions. Any significant deviation from these conditions could alter the aging process of the linen, leading to different conclusions about its age. All right, so that's all very interesting. Where it was stored and all of that, relative to what the actual date is of the shroud, very important stuff. But what's super interesting, I think, about this whole thing, we at least know that if this study is correct, if this article is correct, the shroud has to be at least older than the carbon dating. And this is why. All right. Where in the world, this is my question, where in the world would the shroud had to have been stored if it were only 700 years old, as the carbon dating suggests? Very important. And this is, I think, going to show that the shroud is actually older than the carbon dating. If the Turin shroud were only 700 years old, as the 1988 carbon dating suggests, it would have needed to be stored in an environment much harder than we know from its European history. And this is the history, again, that we know of from Europe. It was in Europe. Specifically, the researchers estimate that for the shroud to show the level of aging they observed, yet only to be 700 years old, it would have had to have been kept in a region with a consistently high average temperature of about 72 degrees or more, which is very, very hot. Such a hot environment would be found in regions like parts of Africa, particularly places like Mali, where historical records indicate average temperatures around 82 Fahrenheit. This scenario is highly unlikely given what we know about the shroud's documented history in cooler European climates, like France and Italy, where it had been stored for the last 700 years. The researchers argue that it would be quite strange if the shroud had spent its entire previous history in a consistently hot region like Mali, especially since there are no historical evidence to support such a claim. In essence, here is the kicker. In essence, if the shroud were truly only 700 years old, it would need to have been stored in one of the hottest regions on Earth, which doesn't align with its known history. This discrepancy further supports the researchers' conclusion that the shroud is much likely older, closer to 2,000 years, based on its preservation condition and the X-ray analysis. But I want to hear from you guys. Is the Shroud of Turin the authentic burial cloth of Jesus? Let me know in the comments. What are your thoughts? Do we have news?
All right, so there you go. Pretty interesting little study. Again, couple of years old on the data there, but it I saw the same thing. It seemed like everybody was all of a sudden kind of just talking about it, and it sprung up all over X. So I figured it'd be a cool little video from Capturing Christianity, kind of giving a real good explanation there on the science behind what they actually did there with the X-ray imaging. So pretty cool. Again, I don't need the Shroud of Turin to be real in order to have faith in Jesus, but it's still pretty cool to see the science and, again, the lengths that folks went to preserve this shroud for so many years is pretty compelling, pretty interesting to think about. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
He was pretty thorough. It was strange that he had to use Chat GPT to translate English into English, but okay.
He was using
Right.
Well, he was probably using the large language model to take all of the scientific data and put it into more layman's terms. I guess what they call dumbing it down a little bit. Because when you do look at the reports from the labs, unless you're versed in it, you may not understand what you're looking at. And that he's correct when he's talking about using Chat GPT to retranslate. I don't like the part where he was like, let's make it fun and stuff like that. How about, I'll just leave it at that. I would leave that aspect out. But yeah, that was an interesting story. Very interesting story. I wonder.
I thought so too.
While I was doing the dishes, I was thinking to myself, where have they stored that? How many different locations have they stored it in? How much has it been tampered with? And yeah, it raised some questions as I was scraping yesterday's meal from utensils.
I'm actually surprised that they don't have it hid in a way where nobody can see it or touch it in the Vatican or something like they do a lot of other stuff. Like, what is it, 7 or 8 more books of the Bible and stuff like that?
Yep, precisely. Water Wizard coming in, gifting the can. Thank you so much for that. Greatly appreciated. Joe Biden going to take a little bit more damage before we switch this out. Officially, we're going to be working on that probably this weekend. I got to rearrange the studio a little bit this weekend.
Really?
Because we're going to try to get... Yes.
We're finally going to do it?
Yes, I have to rearrange the studio. Yes.
Awesome.
Jesus wasn't black.
Get
He
to.
was Middle Eastern, but I don't think he was black.
No, he was white Hebrew, 100%. White Hebrews were a real thing, and there's tons of evidence for that. But oh, here you go, right here. Boop. There you go. No problem. No problem. All right. Let's see here. Let's keep going here. Because I mean, Jesus is described as having blonde hair and blue eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like he had light colored hair and blue eyes. So
well, the thing
pretty
about
crazy.
it is didn't they find, like, where they found the Ark of the Covenant, there had been, like, the blood had dripped down, and they did DNA tests on that, and that proved, in fact, that blood supposedly was still alive.
I don't know. I haven't actually seen that, so I'd have to
Oh,
take a look
really?
at that
Oh,
to know for
okay.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
check that out if you can, because supposedly the Ark of the Covenant was underneath Golgotha there, and Jesus's blood ran down into it. They when they dug down through the rocks or whatever it was, they could see where the blood had ran down. There was all this like red something or other, but they supposedly did tests on it. I mean, it could be fake too. I don't know. You never know anymore on the internet, but um, only thing I can say is that the more that they study the history and everything like that, the more proof that they have that Jesus was real and he did what they said he did. He died and he came back.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Unsuspecting shoppers in multiple states fall victim to distraction thefts. Shoppers in Utah, Nevada, and Idaho were targeted by an interstate crime gang who were eventually captured hundreds of miles away in Wisconsin. A quiet Utah town is the latest locality plagued by distraction thefts against unsuspecting shoppers carried out by interstate crime groups. Transient criminals who travel the country to steal before crossing state lines to strike elsewhere, often affiliated with Romanian and South American crime rings. Oh, man. Over the past year, St. George has seen 37 such distraction thefts perpetrated at grocery stores, retailers, and restaurants. Sergeant Zach Ballman told Fox News Digital that the St. George Police Department began encountering the new modus operandi about 3 years ago. Predominantly, we have these suspects working in groups of 2 or 3 entering business establishments, he said on Wednesday. One person will engage, they'll identify a target, they'll look for a person that has a purse or a wallet that's in the shopping cart or readily accessible. One of the people will engage the target, ask them a question about the product or something to divert their attention away from their cart, he continued. Then another person will pull something out of the cart. Earlier this month, Colombian nationals Hario Gavita Monroy and Andres Fabian Villanueva Rodriguez, 32, and a third man were finally arrested after a string of such crimes, thanks to a months-long investigation headed by St. George detective working with with state and federal agencies. On May 18th, the pair, both wearing bucket hats, plucked a woman's purse from her shopping cart at a home improvement store, according to surveillance footage reviewed by detectives and recounted in an affidavit reviewed by Fox News Digital. Minutes later, the victim's bank cards were used to charge $1,138 at a retail store within the same shopping complex. Police said one man had changed appearance to be wearing a wig, and when the pair was seen on surveillance footage using the store's self-checkout. The woman's cards were used to buy a total of $1,050 in goods from a nearby pharmacy, where the men were seen again on surveillance footage, authorities said. About an hour later, the pair stole a second victim's wallet from her purse at a grocery store on the same street. Both victims' cards were used in quick succession at a big box store. The first victim's bank cards had a total of $3,200 charged in that day, while the second saw 6 transactions totaling $6,250 on her cards. Each time the cards were used, per the affidavit, one man would make the purchase while the other would hover around the stores, acting as a lookout. The 3 men were captured in Wisconsin months later after St. George Police Department sent a bulletin to Homeland Security and other surrounding agencies. Law enforcement agencies across the country, including 2 county agencies in Southern California, detectives in Illinois and Nebraska, and multiple police departments in Wisconsin, shared evidence that painted a clearer picture. A Honda CR-V associated with the trio had been traveling in and out of those areas at the time of the thefts that had taken place in each jurisdiction. We have really worked to build our investigative network because the transient nature of these crimes. They will commit a crime here and then cross state lines. We can track these groups as they're moving and ID people from other agencies. Villanueva Rodriguez is now incarcerated in Wisconsin's Kenosha County on a $10,000 bond for pickpocketing and unauthorized use of an individual's personal identifying information to obtain money, according to the county's jail records. He will be extradited to Utah after he's processed on those charges. Ballman said Villanueva Rodriguez visited the St. George area at least 5 times before he was captured. Gavita Monroy is now back in Washington County behind bars. He faces 2 second-degree felony charges, including theft and a pattern of unlawful activity, along with 7 third-degree felony counts of unlawful acquisition of a financial card, 1 for each card reportedly stolen. The suspect also faces 7 misdemeanor counts of theft. Another such thief, this one associated with the Romanian crime ring, would shoulder surf grocery store customers at self-checkout lines to learn their PINs. Then he would approach his victims with a $20 bill, claiming they had dropped it, and clandestinely steal their wallets or purses. Although that criminal is very good at what he does, Ballman said he was captured after their department tracked him to Florida with the help of other agencies. In another instance in St. George that was captured on surveillance footage and shared with Fox News Digital, a Hispanic couple is seen stealing from an elderly shopper at an area grocery store. As a woman distracts the victim, a man can be seen repeatedly reaching into the customer's cart to pilfer her belongings. It's pretty astonishing that they're so bold, Ballman said. According to the Utah Attorney General's office, roughly 30% of cases received by the Office Economic Crimes Task Force involve domestic and international travel theft groups, the majority of which come out of California. That typically victimize residents of southern Utah, Las Vegas, and Boise, Idaho, as they continue toward the Pacific Northwest. The 4 most common schemes that these interstate crime groups employ are retail theft, gift cards, fuel theft, and card skimmers. Jason Chaffetz, a former U.S. representative from Utah, said that it seemed like these types of criminals are targeting areas that aren't used to these big city crimes. Oh, so it's pouring out into the suburban areas and the rural areas. Boy, oh boy, I'm pretty sure I said that's what was going to happen. They were going to run out of runway in these big cities and target people that aren't looking for it. Oh, excuse me, you dropped this $20 bill. Now let me go charge $6,000 on your debit card. Sorry about that.
No,
I know I'm blending the two, but that's essentially what's happening.
Yeah.
And they're all part of illegal alien criminal gangs. A majority of them, South American and Romanian. I mean, come on, these guys are probably coming through the northern border, going down into California and these other northwestern Pacific states, and just running their crime ring.
Brad, stop.
Yeah,
that.
Brad Allen, you better stand on the border with your BB gun and stop these bastards. You hear me?
Yes.
Based on conversations with local law enforcement, Chaffetz theorized that Utah's Washington County has seen a high number of these crimes due to its proximity to Las Vegas and the I-15 corridor, which is the main transit route from California into anywhere north. What the criminals don't know is that Utah is pretty tough on crime. It's not California. They're not going to just let you go. They're going to incarcerate you, and then they're going to prosecute you. Beware, they think all of America is like California, but it's not. Ballman said the St. George Police Department is considering forming a task force to combat interstate crime rings, and the department has been making a concerted effort to get jail time for the perpetrators. Oh, why aren't they getting jail time? Yeah, because they're just getting released because they have a notice to appear 5 years later because they have to go to an immigration court, not a standard criminal court. If we could get some jail sentences on them where they're serving several months or years, that seems to be a deterrent to them, he said. If somebody is from another country and comes here and is able to commit crimes and able to get a trip back to their home country, if you're getting returned back to your home country, then maybe that's not so much of a deterrent as spending time incarcerated. They don't give a shit. It's 3 square meals and a bed. They don't care. Are you kidding me? These people are coming from squalor. They don't give a damn about going into an American prison. Are you kidding?
Well, turn them into the slaves that they've been turning into black people and the prison system is into.
Yeah,
Big rocks, little rocks.
Man, this is just insane. This is insane.
Although
all right,
people
so
have been doing stuff like this forever. I've seen this for the longest time. In fact, I can remember when I was a teenager, my mom would tell me about shopping. Don't take your eyes off your purse and put your arm through it in the basket and all that other stuff. Yeah, just be careful. People suck. That's all.
Yes, they do. That's it. And, it's like, at this point, as sad as it is, like, if you don't have a battle buddy team, and what I mean by that is you and another person shopping together or going out into public together, you really need to start practicing that. Even if it seems like a pain in the ass to get somebody to go with you, you got to try to find somebody to pair up and stay alert. You know what I mean? Because if you're putting your wallet and your purse and everything in the cart, I mean, that's kind of like, you're kind of asking for to be, but anyway, it's not an excuse, right? It's like we shouldn't have to worry about that sort of thing. Have somebody that can keep eyes on your stuff if you have to step away from your cart or somebody's asking you a question. Like, you keep your eyes on, and that's how we always operate. I have somebody like right there next to the cart at all times, hands on, regardless, even if we have our stuff in there or not. Like, just pay attention to your surroundings, and you know what I mean. Be cordial with people, but trust but verify their intentions when they're talking to you. That's basically the end all of it. And
I've always
be aware that.
Real careful about that, because people love to come up to me out of nowhere and start telling me their life story. I've got "talk to me" tattooed on the top across my forehead for some reason.
Well, that's the Holy Spirit giving you an opportunity to talk to them. That's what I would do. They're telling you your pain points. Talk to them about Jesus. Why not? All right. This is from End Wokeness. If a mob of white teens chased down and assaulted an old black man, we'd all be subjected to wall-to-wall coverage of it. Protests, kneeling, a day of mourning. The reverse just happened in New York. If not for X, you'd have no clue. Check this out. We got a bunch of doctors and scientists following around this guy here.
Yeah, scholars.
And he's just walking along. He's trying to get away.
The pants down and, oh yeah.
Trying to cross the street to get away from him, and they start punching him in the back of the head. Wow, yeah, this is great, guys. This is great. This is July 15th. Oh, yeah, chasing him down. Whole group of them. Yeah, you don't see anything about this on the news. It's
Doesn't fit their narrative. This is what they want.
This is oppression, man. This is oppression right here. This is what happens. Messed up, dude. Messed up.
This is what happens when they allow these guys to just do anything. They don't try to educate them, and probably none of them have a dad in the house.
You're right about that. You are right about that. All right. Hey, we got G-Man gifting a can. Said, "Morning, everybody. God bless you all." No, G-Man, God bless you, dude. You know, being such a channel OG, which G-Man is, always coming in with positivity, always keeping the chat lit up, and interacting with everybody and making everybody feel welcome. So, G-Man, thank you, dude. Thank you for that can. And this can going right to Joe Biden's head is just for you. Look at that. I mean, come on, man. Come on, G-Man.
We're never going to see that man again.
I know. Yeah, they really did the funeral procession for him, especially pushing his speech past midnight with the night that he got to speak. Oh, man.
After Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, rich people are being frozen in the hope that they can be brought back to life. That's right. Cryonics, or cryopreservation, is a growing trend across the world, with patients gambling six-figure sums on their future resurrection via companies like Tomorrow Bio. Can we really pop human beings in the freezer and defrost them decades or centuries later to emerge into a brave new world beyond their wildest dreams?
Sure,
it's a common sci-fi fantasy. In episodes of The X-Files or Star Trek, bodies are put on ice just before death, or corpses are preserved post-mortem. Yeah, we got 10 minutes until we switch over, guys. So make sure you guys, if you don't already have an account, head over to pilled.net. You can go to pilled.net/welcome/no-prisoners-podcast. It'll make you you can make yourself an account in just a couple minutes, and it'll bring you directly into the chat with all these awesome folks that are hanging out over there, just like G-Man, and he's going to tell you how awesome it is to see you in the chat, because they're really just that friendly. It's not even
you guys are
not
on
even
X too.
Yes. Okay. In anticipation of future medical breakthroughs that can bring them back to life. But in the real world, there are scientists hard at work to make cryopreservation a reality. A German startup named Tomorrow Bio recently made headlines as the first company to offer this service in Europe. It reported 650 people are already signed up, with 6 people and 5 pets already undergoing the preservation process. Most of those on the waiting list don't expect to die anytime soon, with an average age of 36. When they do shuffle off this mortal coil, though, the company will be notified via next of kin or a wearable tracker. That sounds normal. And a team will be dispatched with immediate effect to begin the preservation process ASAP, which involved reducing the body's temperature to negative 80 degrees Celsius. Preserved patients, or members, are preserved indefinitely at a facility in Ravs, Switzerland, for the low cost of just 120,000 euros. These patients join around 500 people who are currently preserved in cryonics programs across the world, and thousands more plan to undergo the treatment, with facilities popping up across the United States, but also in Asia, Russia, and Australia. Are they all just getting scammed via the promise of eternal life, or should we all be saving up for a ticket to the IRL afterlife?
No.
How does cryo... No.
These fools are gonna wake up and it's gonna be idiocracy. Guaranteed.
I mean, they're never going to wake up. They're just going to be
Probably
popsicles
not,
until the power goes out in these preservation facilities, and then it's just going to stink like a meat freezer that thawed, and nobody's going to want to go in there. What's
worse? There have been stories coming out from early on when they first started doing this, where the people were frozen. Something went wrong with the maintenance. The coolants got blocked up or what have you. And cleaning crews had to go in and get the soup out of these.
Oh, man.
Because you know what happens.
That's what it's going to be like hell.
When you deep freeze tissue and it thaws, it loses all cellular structure because all the cell walls break. So it releases all the plasma. And it just...
Well, yeah, it's just like your cell is like a plastic bottle that's full of liquid, right? Or a soda can. And as the things freeze, pressure begins to build against the cellular wall, which is naturally not a very strong thing. And, it bursts. And so when those cells burst, all the fluid just can kind of starts to coagulate. And then once it's thawed, all the liquid just kind of pours out. And you can imagine what that does on the inside of a human body.
It just made a jelly with a bunch of bones in it. It was just awful.
Yeah, you're a retard sickle. Good job. Yeah. Okay. For all sorts of grisly reasons, like ice crystals tearing your blood vessels apart, you can't just freeze a body by conventional means. Yes, cryopreservation involves cooling corpses to sub-zero temperatures. This is what stops the biological processes that cause a body to decay, but they're treated with what's essentially medical-grade antifreeze to stop them from actually freezing.
I believe
it's a leap of... Yes, it's a leap of faith, though, as Tomorrow Bio explains on its website. Patients are cryopreserved in the expectation that future technology may be able to revive them and treat their underlying cause of death.
Word, may.
Yeah, the word, expectation is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, since it's unclear when or if this future technology will arrive. Whether it's 50, 75... Yes, go ahead.
The underlying cause of death was being frozen, my dear.
Right. No, but that's just it, is that these people are like, so let's say you die of old age, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what is the remedy for bringing back somebody whose biological process has already finished? I mean, they've shit their pants, they peed their pants. I mean, they're dead, right? Like the brain has ceased function. How do you you're not a cold battery in the wintertime that you're just going to hook a trickle charger up to and get the engine running again.
True. Yeah, besides, where is the essence? Where's the soul? Where is the spirit?
Exactly.
There's no way. These people would be zombies, in other words.
Let's consider this for a moment. Have any of you ever known a person with traumatic head injury? Like, let's say after a motorcycle accident. This happened to my uncle. Uncle Donnie used to know him. After his motorcycle accident and the traumatic brain injury, someone else took his place. A completely different person. So when I think about it in terms of that, where, it's physically, it's still Uncle Donnie. However, the interior mechanisms are no longer Uncle Donnie. So it is a question. It's like, maybe certain things could be saved, but
I
they
got
wouldn't be
asked
the
that.
same. They wouldn't be the same, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got asked
No.
that after my stroke. My sister-in-law, she said both her parents had strokes, and the thing is, after they had their strokes, their personalities were completely different. Now, I think it might have to do with something like a near-death experience that always changes people's outlooks and everything like that. But she said that after her dad's stroke, he was always very prim and proper and never smiled. But she said she brought him home from the hospital. He was singing to the radio and asking all kinds of funny questions and telling jokes and everything like that. And the same thing with her mother. So it's possible. It does. It has. I don't think it's changed my personnel or anything like that. It's changed a few of my cravings and desires, but I'm still the same person so far. But yeah, that's definitely possible, and I've had that question asked too.
Wow. Well, are there any budget options for us lowly folks down here at the bottom? Well, luckily, Tomorrow Bio has a solution for members on a budget. While the total cost of full body cryopreservation runs up to 200,000 euros, they can freeze you just your brain for 75,000 euros. This would be very handy if we figure out how to upload brains into cyberspace in the future, too. These one-time payments have to be paid at the point of death, so remember not to blow all your corpse preservation money on a spectacular send-off. Either way, members also have to pay $50 a month fee to cover standby teams, equipment, and research costs. So let's say you're some rich German asshole, right? You've signed up for this thing. You're traveling on the Autobahn at 125 miles an hour, and you smash into an object that's standing still, and you basically become a liquefied version of yourself. Are they going to scrape you up with a dustpan and shove you into the cryotube and just hope that they can reorganize everything later, or do you get some kind of return of the cost? You know, like how do they guarantee that you're gonna die in a way where
This
they
is
can
starting
revive
to
you?
sound like the same scan as transing and stuff like that too. Anything to take your money from you.
You know, they could add another step before we go to commercial. I'm just thinking.
Yes.
They could add another step where they add the probes or some sort of cerebral mechanism to record your last nuance of life and all that went into it, your personality, your feelings. It probably wouldn't capture all of your knowledge, but it could definitely capture mannerisms and such, how the muscles work in the body, and possibly construct a new. And if you guys are familiar with Ghost in the Shell, I'm taking parts of Ghost in the Shell. I'm taking parts of what they're currently working with, not only in Neuralink. There's another person, another technologist who's working on biocranial merging with the mechanical and computer aided design. I mean, beyond CAD, of course. I mean, it's beyond CAD. I'm just saying. And then with the implementation of analytical AI and generative AI, I don't believe they'll ever get the soul. I don't think it's I don't believe that God would allow mankind to claim ownership of the soul.
Yeah, only he gets to choose who lives or dies when.
Yeah. So regardless of which advancements we make in science or the greater understanding of the human condition, I don't believe humankind would ever be able to capture the essence of the soul.
Well, and they may be able to make it so that the meat that's surrounding the soul never dies. And Revelations actually talks about that, you know, like, hey, there's going to be people that want to die but can't die, and so they're going to have to like sit through this entire thing and just deal with it. Like, please kill me, and then they're just unable to actually die. So I don't know. We'll see how that pans out for them. But I know something that is going to die. It's these other streams. Other than Pilled.net, because we're going exclusively to Pilled, guys. Listen, it is the ultimate free speech platform that's out there. One of the homesteading channels that I watch on YouTube had an herbalist style video where they're talking about foraging for this specific type of tree and all the benefits of it. I don't remember what it's called, but it grows here in the Southwest and Southeast and such. And they took it down for medical misinformation. YouTube took it down. They gave him a warning, and he's like, "What am I supposed to do? Like, I'm sitting here showing you these age-old herbalist and naturalist remedies for illnesses, and now you're telling me that it's medical misinformation?" And I said, "Hey, bring your audience and your content over to pill.net. You can post all the herbalist and foraging and survival videos that you want. It will not be limited. These people are absolutely free speech oriented. Even if you're saying something they might not necessarily agree with, they are going to allow your channel, your audience to take in the information no matter what it is. And you don't have to worry about big tech censorship, because these folks that run pill.net are not beholden to the app stores. They've completely separated themselves from that. They're on their own infrastructure, providing these live streaming services and video hosting and posts just like you can do on X. So I'm telling you guys, if you are a content creator, bring your audiences, bring your content to pill.net just like I've done. I have nothing but full faith and trust in these guys and gals that are running this platform, because they really are great people. They hang out in the chats, and they're just fantastic. So please head on over to pill.net. Join us for the rest of the show. And we're going to be showing today our Rise International t-shirt design, which is the glitch drip. You guys saw Kevin wearing that yesterday during his pop-up stream, which was absolutely amazing. Great job again, Kevin.
Why, thank you.
Yes, so it was very, very educational, and lots of fun using Kevin's AI client to kind of dig through some of the information that's out there.
Client.
So with that,
Client
or
It's
agent, sorry,
agent.
agent. It's an agent. Excuse me. But anyway, make sure you guys head over to Rise International. Again, another great America First company making T-shirt designs and other apparel for based content creators. Guys, go pick up one of these T-shirts. It helps out the show with every single purchase, and you're supporting an America First company. Everything made right here in the United States. These are hand stitched together. So go and check them out. The quality is unmatched, and we'll see you guys right on the other side of this.
We are